A very good evening and welcome to the national broadcast. I am Malsha Dharmavardhana.
Good evening, I'm Lakshdev Singha. We start off tonight by taking a look at the top stories.
Schools in the Western Province will be reopened on the 15th of March. The Prime Minister orders the Central Bank to look into the possibility of removing the surcharge being imposed in the repayment of loans and leasing in one installment. 12 more new High Court judges have been appointed. A program centering on sports and youth. The third anniversary of the massive local government election victory of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna.
We'll start off with the top story for tonight. Minister of Education Professor G.L. Pires says all schools in the Western Province will be reopened on the 15th of March. All grades from grade 1 of the schools will recommence academic activities on this day. The minister at a media briefing at the ministry today further said that the decisions has been taken subject to the opinions of the principals and recommendations of the health authorities. Minister of Education Professor G.L. Pires said that it has been the recommendation of the health authorities to reopen schools in all districts in the Western Province soon after the conducting of the GCE ordinary level examination on the 15th of next month. All grades of the schools will commence academic studies on this day. The decision applies to international schools and private schools affiliated to the government in the Western Province. The directive bears no impact on schools in other provinces. It has also been pointed out that student attendance in schools in other provinces has increased 72%. The teachers' attendance is at 88%. The Sri Lanka Podujana Education Workers Association have expressed their views on the reopening of schools in the Western Province at a media discussion in Colombo today. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Education stated that practical tests pertaining to several subjects of the GCE ordinary level examination are to be conducted as usual. These practical examinations are scheduled to be conducted after the written examination. The relevant examination admission cards stating dates and places where the tests are to be conducted will be released by the Department of Examinations. Practical tests are being conducted on the subjects of Western music, Eastern music, Carnatic music, local dancing, Bharata dancing, dancing and acting in the Sinhala, Tamil and English medium.
Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has instructed the Central Bank of Sri Lanka to look into the possibility of withdrawal of surcharge being levied by financial institutions over the concluding of repayment of bank loans on vehicle leasing in one installment. The Prime Minister has reiterated on the fact at a progress evaluation meeting on the Ministry of Finance held recently. The financial institutions imposed at a 3% surcharge on the customers of the financial institutions who complete payments of installments prior to the due date. It has also been revealed at the meeting that the certain financial institutions terminated at relevant agreement without making the surcharge at request of certain customers. The Prime Minister had pointed out that common policy should be formulated to abolish such payments being imposed on discretion of some financial institutions. The Prime Minister had further stated that every financial institution function under the supervision of Central Bank and ordered that officials to study on ability to suspend imposition of such payments. State Minister Ajit Niwad Cabral has also pointed out that it is not justifiable by any means to impose such payments. He added that therefore this practice should be fully abolished. State Minister Shan Singha, Treasury Secretary S.R. Artigala, Prime Minister's Secretary Gamini Senarath, Governor of the Central Bank, Professor W.D. Lakshman and officials of all state banks have also attended the meeting.
In the meantime, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa handed over letters of appointment to 12 new High Court judges at the Presidential Secretariat today. Accordingly, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa handed over the new appointment letters to district judges NKDKI Nanayakara, R.L. Godavela, V. Ramakamalan and URVB Ranatunga. Also judges SHMN Lakmali, DG NR Premratna, WD Vimalasiri, MMM Mihal and Mahi Vijayveera also received the appointment letters from the President. Judges IPD Lianage and J. Trotsky and Senior State Counsel N.A. Suwandurugoda also received the new appointments.
State Minister Professor Channa Jayasumana states that measures will be taken to speedily import to the country other types of vaccines approved by the health divisions for use in the COVID-19 immunization program upon receiving the relevant recommendations. Meanwhile, the epidemiology unit says more than 174,000 persons have been given the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine under the COVID-19 immunization program. The epidemiology unit indicates that AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine has already been administered to more than 174,193 people in the country under the COVID-19 inoculation program. The AstraZeneca vaccine was initiated on January 29th. Today is the 13th day. A total of 6,431 persons received the vaccine. The number of COVID-19 recoveries in the country has increased up to 65,644. Accordingly, the percentage of fully recovered COVID-19 patients in the country at 91.49. Meanwhile, 7.99% COVID-19 patients are receiving treatment at present, and this amounts to 5,736 patients. 8,485 fully cured patients have left hospitals from beginning of the month up to now. 591 such patients have been discharged from the hospitals today. Another 539 COVID-19 patients were identified in the island today. 5 more COVID-19 related deaths were reported yesterday. The victims were residents of Kapuliyadda, Moratuwa, Katavala, Kurunagala and Anuradhapura. Minister of Labour Nimal Siripala de Silva have requested relevant authorities to establish the relevant centres for quarantine expeditiously for those expatriates, Sri Lankan workers who are hoping to return to the motherland. The minister has pointed out at a discussion at the Labour Ministry yesterday that all must get together to create a new program to return to Sri Lanka. Secretary to the Ministry of Health, Major General Specialist Physician Dr. Sanjeeva Munasinghe, Secretary to the State Minister Specialist Physician Dr. Amal Harsha de Silva, Director General of Health Services Dr. Asela Gunawardena were among the officials who have attended the event.
Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa said in Parliament today that permission will be granted according to health methodologies to bury the remains of those who died due to COVID-19 disease. He was responding to a query raised by opposition parliamentarian S.M. Marikkar in this regard. Parliamentarian S.M. Marikkar said that Minister Sudarshani Fernandopulle said in Parliament yesterday that the COVID-19 disease does not spread by water. Therefore, he has inquired whether permission would be granted to bury COVID-19 victims. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has responded saying that permission will be granted to bury the dead bodies of COVID-19 patients. We take a look at more stories from home, where the Ministry of Sports and Youth Affairs have taken several measures to prepare short-term, mid-term and long-term targeted programs centering on sports and youth. This was disclosed at a discussion held at the Ministry of Mass Communication today, presided over by Ministers Keheliya Rambukwella and Namal Rajapaksa and State Minister Tenuka Vidanagamage. The meeting was conducted in joint collaboration with state and private media institutions. The Ministry of Mass Communications has implemented a propaganda campaign on public dissemination of development news under the theme Asidisi Peramaga Saubhagye Punaruda. Today's discussion was the second in the series of meetings being conducted with heads of media institutions regarding development plans of each and every ministry. The Ministry of Sports has taken measures to construct a playground in every divisional secretariat division. The cost of construction of a single such playground is 1.5 million rupees. 342 such playgrounds are to be constructed. The work is scheduled to get underway on the 2nd of next month. Minister Namal Rajapaksa has pointed out at the discussion that attention has been focused to standardize rural playgrounds and to identify the cases of which priority is to be given. The ministry has also made plans to develop playgrounds in 99 schools. The total anticipated expenditure is 320 million rupees. Agreements have also been made to turn players on the national level into professional competitors. The minister added that therefore agreements have been reached targeting training 51 sports persons for the Asian and Olympic tournaments based on their skills and performances. Meanwhile, specialized sports equipment are to be handed over to each selected school in every education zone. A sum of 380 million rupees has been set aside in this regard. Minister Namal Rajapaksa further said that proposals have been presented to the Ministry of Education to prepare a program for the admission of children with sports skills to major schools. The minister has further reiterated that it is a timely need to direct the students on national and international tournaments on a long-term basis. He added that it is also necessary to produce active children even under the pandemic situation. Secretary to the Ministry of Media Communications Jagat P. Vijayveera and Secretary to the State Ministry on Promotion of School Infrastructure Facilities in Rural Schools Ravindra Samaravikrama have also taken part in the discussion.
Intellectuals and analysts point out that 10th of February 2018 is regarded as the day the people has regained democracy which was taken away from them by rolling out the election map for a period of 2 years. Today marks the day 3 years ago when people have voted for regional development once again after stagnated period. A threat had emerged with presidential election defeated in 2015 on the possibility of a splintering of anti-United National Party focuses. It has become a progressive need to line up the people's force into a single camp under the circumstances. A new political movement had to be formulated for the ground levied. Accordingly, the progress of appointing representatives covering every Gramani Vladari division has commenced in the year 2017. The Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna have conducted its most gigantic May Day rally in history at the Golface Green and demonstrated its ability to become victorious in any upcoming election. Thereafter, the victorious political march of the SLPP had got underway through the setting up of centric committees covering every electorate. The architect of this program was the founder of the party, Basil Rajapaksha. 10th of February 2018 has become the date that changed the course of destiny of the country. The people of Sri Lanka had marked a cross in front of the Puhottua symbol to express their protest over the wake of national security, high cost of living and political victimization. The Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna have emerged victorious in 231 local government institutions, which was 85% of the total local government bodies. Even independent group which has supported the Podujana Peramuna were elected for local government institutions in Maharagama, Mahiyangane and Tirappan. The SLPP, motivated by dedication, unflattering effort and wholehearted determination, had finally won the presidential election. It is the opinion of the political intellectuals that the local government election have paved the way for the unique victory. The event have entered the history as a significant occasion of the political party record, an excellent victory over the ruling party without even having the post of opposition leader. The Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna have been successful in giving the two-thirds power in the parliamentary election under the proportional representative voting. As a result, the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna have emerged the only party with two-thirds parliamentary majority and 85% victory in local government poll to elect the president with the shortest possible period.
Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has instructed authorities to prepare a methodology to carry forward the due payments of lease installments for school transport services, office transport services and three-wheelers which have been severely affected with the COVID-19 outbreak. The Prime Minister directed these instructions during a discussion held at the Ministry of Finance recently with the owners of school transport services, office transport services and three-wheelers. The opportunity has been facilitated for the vehicle owners to proceed with the payment of lease installments since the country has returned to normalcy following the reopening of the country amidst COVID-19 pandemic. However, certain financial institutions have requested vehicle owners to repay the due installment payments related to the grace period granted by the government during the first lockdown along with the usual installment payments at present. The representatives of the transport associations informed the Prime Minister that they are unable to make the additional installment payments under the prevailing economic condition in the country. They have also pointed out that certain financial institutions have included the interests of the due installment payments related to the government grace period along with the future installment payments. The Prime Minister mentioned that all financial institutions which provide leasing facilities should adhere to one policy in this regard. The representatives of the associations pointed the difficulties they experience when signing agreements related for leasing, since the content in the relevant agreements has been written only in English language. Accordingly, the Prime Minister said to take necessary measures to draft relevant agreements for leasing in simple Sinhala, Tamil and English languages. The Prime Minister also mentioned the need to clarify the conditions of the agreement to the relevant parties has to be informed to the relevant financial institutions. State Ministers Ajit Niwad Kabral and Shehan Semasinghe and Secretary to the Prime Minister Gamini Senarath were present at this occasion.
You're watching the national broadcast, and we continue with more local stories. The essential commodity items of which prices have been reduced are being distributed continuously through Sathosa and cooperative outlets. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena had inspected the distribution process today. The minister, upon arrival at the Sathosa storage complex in Valisara, had monitored the supplying and distribution mechanism. 9 Sathosa warehouses, including the one in Valisara, are engaged in distributing essential commodity items throughout the island. The minister has stated that in addition, the cooperative movement is involved in the process. It has also been pointed out that adequate quantities of item at revised prices are available. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena further said that the goods are being distributed to the Sathosa and cooperate shops expeditiously. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena said that national program to distribute essential commodity items to the Sathosa and cooperate outlets below prevailing market prices have commenced. Minister further said that this is an extremely conducive competition. He added that even some private sector institutions have published newspaper advertisement regarding selling goods at reduced prices. Meanwhile, Minister Lasantha Alagiyawanna stated that several gazette notifications pertaining to prices of essential commodity items released in previous year have been cancelled. He added that the objective of the measure was to safeguard the consumer. State Minister Lasantha Alagiyawanna said that there is no possibility to hand over goods at the prices of 2016 and 2017. The State Minister further said that therefore they were compelled to cancel the previous gazette notification. He also said that under the present scheme, some items could be provided at prices even below the amount published in the previous gazette notification.
We take a look at some more local news items in brief. The 54th anniversary of the D.S. Senanayake College, Colombo was commemorated today. Minister Udaya Gammanpilla has presided over the event. Founder of D.S. Senanayake College is late R.I.T. Alas. The school had commenced from small beginnings on the 10th of February 1967 in Kumbikale, Baralla. Late I.A. Mare Iriagolla had provided guidance for the school, which had commenced operations with 167 students and 5 teachers. The D.S. Senanayake College has a proud heritage of being the forerunner of a reputed generation of students who have steered the direction of the nation. Presently, more than 6,000 students follow studies under the direction of more than 300 teachers. The present principal is Prasanna Upashantha. An internet data storage on the school was also unveiled. Among the distinguished gathering present on the occasion was the wife of the first principal, late R.I.T. Alas. An agitation against the arrest of leader of Myanmar Aung San Suu Kyi was held in Colombo today. The protesters have handed over a letter to the United Nations office in Colombo regarding the arrest of the Myanmarese leader. We take a quick look at the sports news before we wind up. Sports Minister Namal Rajapaksa says that holding of any official election of members of any sports body will not be postponed without any valid reason. The minister made these remarks participating in an observation tour of a playground in Ambuldeniya, Nugegoda. The minister said that he took part in the tour in Ambuldeniya Isuradeva Playground with the objective of attracting youth in sports activities and also to construct a walking path. Sports Minister Namal Rajapaksa said that not a single election of board of officials of any sports institution will be delayed without a justifiable reason. The minister further said that there should be freedom for any representative of a sports club, including cricket, to get elected in a democratic manner. The newly appointed Technical Advisory Committee for the Development of Cricket in Sri Lanka has met for the first time yesterday under the leadership of Sports Minister Namal Rajapaksa. Chairman of the committee is former cricket captain Arvinda De Silva. Other members are Roshan Mahanama, Muttaya Muralidharan and Kumar Sangakkara. And that's all the stories for tonight. We'll see you tomorrow at the very same time. Good night.
Good night.